Welcome to Thought Leader Life, where we are helping to democratize thought leadership. Join us each week where we interview a new thought leader about what it takes to become and maintain thought leadership in a number of different vertical markets. To learn more, check out www.thoughtleaderlife.com. Hi, Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert, and welcome to this special credibility episode of Thought Leader Life, where we're taking amazing humans and having them talk about their credibility. Today's guest is Joe Folkman, who is the co-founder and president of Zinger Folkman. He has extensive expertise in psychometrics, survey research, and managing organizational and individual change. Some of his clients include AT&T, GM, Wells Fargo, and Yale University. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mitchell. Great to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. So let's start off. What is your CPOP? What is the customer point of pain you solve?
When organizations come to us, they know when they have a bad leader, they have a disengaged, frustrated, angry employee who may, in fact, highly likely will leave that organization and they'll lose talent. But also that poor leader will reduce profitability, customer satisfaction, and all these other things. We can make that leader better, but we can also take good leaders and make great leaders.
There we go. The good to great leader thing. But I like that. So companies who are sitting there recognizing that, or if they're not recognizing, that's a problem. But when you're hearing a lot of employee complaints, if you're monitoring social media and you see what's happening and your employees are not happy, it affects everything. So
it does.
Tell me a little bit more. What is it that you do? How do you help companies do better?
Well, we have an assessment and we've figured out the key items to measure leadership effectiveness, and they predict outcomes. And so if you go and ask leaders, are you a good leader? Guess what? They all are. If you ask people that are good drivers, they're also good drivers. I mean, the reality is
I live in California. I know that there are not good drivers everywhere. So, okay, gotcha.
Some of them are bad and some of them are good and some of them are great, but people don't know. And so they really need an accurate assessment. And one of the things that we figured out early on was that we used to always focus people on what was wrong with them. But when we looked at the best leaders, we found they did a few things well. And so we switched and started to say, great leaders are leaders that do things well. If you did 3 things really well, you're in the top 20% of leaders. So we focus on people's strengths.
God, I love that. That is so beautiful. So what gives you that credibility to do what you do?
Well, a lot of things. I'm a psychometrician, so that alone just scares people to death. But
let's see, psychometrician, 5-syllable word. Yeah, that's hard to say that 5 times fast. Okay.
Well, I told my kid that once, and he said I'm a psycho. Anyway, we'll see about that.
Yeah, there was a movie after you, right? Psycho.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
We have a series of books. We also have blogs in Forbes and HBR, and HBR are probably our most popular blogs. We have monthly webinars and things like that. But our credibility really mostly comes from referrals. Clients that we've done a good job with reverse to their friends and their friends. And so that's really where we get a lot of our business.
So credibility is word of mouth marketing. That's sort of how you spread. So you answered a different question, which is okay. That was my next one. We'll go back to you answered the question is, how do you get your brand out there? How do you get people to refer you? Many people in today's world, the best referral source possible is, or the best marketing tool is that referral source. But what actually gives you that credibility? How many years have you done it? Or what degrees do you have? Or what is the things that say, hey, we are experts at what we do?
Well, both my partner and I, we have PhDs, and that's not only part of it, but what we've tried to do is evidence-based research. So we have a database of 100,000 leaders from across the globe. And so we pour in and look at those leaders and try to understand what they're doing and how they're doing it and what the differences are between great ones and poor ones. And we find that this evidence-based approach has really helped us to differentiate ourselves from competitors, because we're not talking about our great theory that we came up in the kitchen one morning. We talk about evidence that comes out of data from our research across the globe.
I like it. And I assume then when you're doing your webinars, when you're doing your articles that are in Harvard Business Review and elsewhere, you actually sharing the results that come from the polling, analyzing, and research you're doing on the 100,000 person database.
Right. And that database is an absolute goldmine to us, because it really gives us intelligence about what's happening today in business and the dilemmas that leaders have and what they can do to be better. Oftentimes, we find that a direct approach to improvement doesn't work. And so what we found is that there's these companion behaviors that help leaders to get better. We found that through researching thousands of leaders just to find out these enabling behaviors. For instance, we find that the people that are best at technical expertise are actually good at building relationships. Now, you probably know somebody who's technically oriented but not so good at relationships. But the best leaders are good at relationships. That helps them to spread their message and to understand the clients.
Well, I've taken away I like that. I've heard it before, but don't focus on your weakness and fix those. Focus on the three things you do well. I absolutely love that.
Well, it's a great philosophy, and people really appreciate it. We do have one exception, and that is if you have something we call a fatal flaw. And that's a significant weakness. We find about 30% of our leaders have a fatal flaw, something they're terrible at. And if that's the case, you need to fix it.
It's sort of like being allergic to kryptonite and working in a kryptonite factory. I got it.
It is your kryptonite, and that's something you need to fix. But 70% of the leaders are better off focusing on strengths, building their strengths. We believe people can build a strength.
Joe, I appreciate this. I have a good feeling about who you are and what you do. I appreciate you coming on the show. And listen, if you're in a corporation today, whether you're the employee that's being treated poorly, or whether you're the CEO, sit on the board, or are part of HR, and you recognize that there are leaders that are just not living up to their potential. Not only that, they're living so down to their potential that they're causing people of your organization to leave because they're unhappy. You got to talk to Joe. How is the best way to reach out to you?
You know, you can Google Zenger Folkman, Zengerfolkman, and it'll come up with articles, webinars. Our website is zengerfolkman.com. We also have a leadership summit in November that we'd love to get people to come to at Sundance Resort. We're promising a Robert Redford viewing there. Walks by the bar late at night. Anyway, so lots of good articles out there, lots of research, lots of webinars. We'd love to sort of learn about what people want to know.
That sounds awesome. Hey, thank you so much for sharing your credibility, and thank you for watching this episode of Thought Leader Life. If you like what you heard, please subscribe on whatever channel you're listening or watching. Feel free to give us comments and feedback, and we look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye now. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Thought Leader Life. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and activate us by going to thoughtleaderlife.com/activate. Till next time.